Hello, Russ here with another tutorial. This one's going to be a bit longer. We're going to be going over lighting a whole scene. And today we're going to be doing one of the Coca-Cola advertising stills that I was seeing on TV. It was an overhead shot of a bunch of cans with in the middle a horizontal facing can towards the camera. So let's jump in and get started. So as you can see here, we have no lights. It's just going to be a default scene, basic lighting. So what we're going to do, we're going to add in our dome light. We're just going to get a basic HDRI. I think just like a standard office will work. Doesn't have to be anything special. And then we're going to hide it. Then we're going to take a light target. That's going to be the middle of our scene. You can see right here. We're going to want to put that right in the middle. And you can even bring it up more. Okay, and then we're going to create a light. This will be our key light. Just make a target, light target, target, and then let's move this up more. We don't need it as big. It's a small scene. It's still huge. Okay. Alright, so this is more facing upwards. Not too strong. It's a little bit warmer too. There's temperature. Let's bring that down. Let's bring the power down a little bit. And then there's another light that was at the bottom. Can really just be the size of our grid here. And it was a red light. Not too strong. It was like barely visible. Alright, now let's get this situated more. I think this is more here. So the awesome part about using a light target is you can move it around and it will still stay focused to where you want it to. So I'm looking at this highlight right here. I'm trying to match the reference. Let me show you the reference. So this is the reference here. So we're trying to match this highlight and rough key light area here, and then the bottom red light that's down here. So that's the general idea of what we're going towards. My can definitely looks different than the can in the advertisement, but we are going to make do. Alright, so now that we got that going, let's turn on our HDRI. We want to brighten up the scene as a whole, but we can lower this down to like 0.1. Yeah, this is getting a lot closer to what we need to be. And we can even make this light a color instead. It was more like pink. Here, and then it's like up the brightness. It looks like there's another light. It's very subtle, but I can select it. There's another light Come on this side. It's very subtle. And what I'm looking towards doing now is still keeping some of the shadow information in between, because we can always add that back in with our AO pass in post. All right, so this is a rim light. This is rim light. And this is our for light. All this in a lighting group. Okay. Get some AO passes in there. We don't need some of these old ones. That was for another scene. So I created this model for practice, and I just grabbed the scene that I was working in earlier. It was a lot more zoomed in, and it was two cans. So I learned a lot from that scene. You definitely want darker but less spread. Max distance. So 0. Huh. I don't think we want any of that. We don't want any of the ice cubes. We just want fall off. A little bit of fall off. Yeah, here we go. This is what I'm looking towards. I'm looking for this information here, but I don't want it too dramatic on the edges. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now let's get some, we can see what depth of field looks like. We need to normalize it. It's always good to have a depth pass, so I'll keep it. We want flexions. Yep, that's good information. We want specular. And I don't think there's any refractions, but oh, that's right, the ice. Yeah, I guess just in case we want to make them sparkle a little bit, bring them in. Shadows. There's no shadow information. Okay. So in order for us to match this reference a little bit more. We need to tone down the normal map. Just soften it up a little bit. Yeah, this is looking closer. Yeah, I think that should do it. A little bit more tilted with the camera. Yeah. What do you guys think? I think that's getting pretty close. I think our highlight's definitely different. It's not a deal breaker for me. I'm not trying to match it exactly. It's our key light. Okay. Maybe up it a little bit. I think it's looking pretty strong. Yeah, that's definitely from that light. I'm just trying to tone down the overall brightness of this reflections here. Now it's getting kind of blown out. Like that, and then we can increase it back to 100. It's looking very good. Just trying to not have all my highlights blown out. That's all I want. Is it all really coming from this one light? Yeah, that's the trouble light. Okay. Now I can just rotate the light away from cans. No, that's not working either. I really don't want to go back into the shading. Surface. Sheen. could do it in render passes too. That's probably the way I have to do it. Just lower this amount until I'm just getting a decent amount. Modify the wrong one. Let's keep going. Like 5. 2.5. Yeah, it's getting closer. Right now I'm just moving things around, just seeing what it looks like in different positions, and then I can tone in the intensity after I get a good position. That's looking pretty good. So now I can bring it back to like something more manageable, like 200. And with all my passes, I can increase the intensity of some of the highlights. But I will need some render passes. So let's get those going. Some object mass, I should say. So object ID, center, and then sides. UV, puzzle mat, object, 1, 2. We have to go here, puzzle mat. So I should have the center and the sides as, what if I do that? Because they're instances. That's probably why. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah. That's all run. So what I could do, this is going to be annoying, but I can make these editable, and now I should get my render passes. It'll make the scene heavier, but at least we'll be able to separate it. There we go. That's what we wanted. not how we wanted to do it, but we did it. All right. Now let's make, yep, render settings look good. Good. Okay, save. Let's go into Coca-Cola 3. Copy, paste. And let's just do current frame. Cool. Save and render. Alright, so while it's rendering, we can chit chat about just scene optimization and setting yourself up for success when you're working on larger projects. So what I ran into earlier when I had to make these editable, both of these were referencing the original can. So if I were to modify this, it would update all the other cans. So the reason why that is so important is when you're working on larger projects, if they want to change one thing that affects a bunch, that's super important in productions, large-scale productions. So getting in good habits, yeah, you're going to break the rule here and there, but generally you're going to stick to the rule of working efficiently, organized, and structured. That's how you're always going to hit your deadlines. That's how you're always going to be able to modify your own work, even if it's a complex ask or an easy one, and to be able to turn around very quickly. It'll make your managers happy. It'll make your company CEO happy to be able to turn out different graphics at a high quantity and high quality. So whether you're in After Effects, Cinema, Maya, whatever it is, try to work as non-destructively as possible. The render time also is a thing. You're going to want to fine-tune your samples. You're going to want to test, see what creates noise, what doesn't, what you can get away with. Of course, when you don't have time, just get something that's going to look well on air or on the LED screen. But when you have the time, try to play around with your settings, especially if it's going to be made into a template, if it's going to be grabbed by other designers and iterated in different looks. Try to optimize as much as possible. That helps the team, that helps the whole pipeline hitting the desired deadline. And overall, it just helps everyone get out of work a lot quicker and have a healthy work-life balance. I don't even know what to talk about anymore. I feel like I've been chit-chatting for a while now. I should probably move in the future, fast forward when the renders are done. But I'm too lazy. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to do that. That's too much editing. So you're just going to have to fast forward to when this is rendered, or you can bear with me while I just talk about random stuff. I guess in the meantime, I can talk about render engines. A lot of people say like, what's better, what's easier. I think it's just one of those things that just pick one, get really good at it, and the others will become easier if you need to use them. Most companies, they will have a preferred render engine, but if they're working with external studios, or if they're large enough where they have a huge team, more chances they're going to be using multiple render engines. At ESPN, we use them all. We use Octane, Arnold, Redshift, Unreal Engine. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Of course, we use like Viz and other real-time render engines, but those are more for your real-time designers. People like 3D artists, they're going to be using Cinema, Maya, or Blender. That's another one. So they're going to be using an actual render engine that takes a little bit of time to kick out a frame. Come on, finish the frame. I'm running out of things to talk about. There we go. Okay. Let's import our frames. Alright, so we have our not so bright scene here. So here we can take our passes and brighten them up this way. As you can see, we're able to add in our reflections, our refractions, and we can really brighten the scene up quite a bit. Specular lighting. This is where we're really going to make our centerpiece. Have it glow up. Maybe color dodge. Yeah, that's looking good. And this is where we can also take our opacitor. And let's do set channels. Red, red, red. And we'll call this center cans matte. Duplicate it. This will be outer. That was green, right? Yeah. Green, green, green. Okay, so this is where things get a little fun. So we can put in the outer cans. So now we're only affecting the outer cans here. And we can tone down those lighting effects. And we can do the other way around, and we can heighten the middle one. Instead of doing, actually we can probably even like duplicate it. Like screen, less intense, just a little bit more of a highlight. Multiply. Yep, looking good. Depth. I don't think we're actually gonna pull too much from this. Actually, maybe. Just like a little bit. We can just field. Back into this one, we want the can to be completely in focus. Yeah. Like 5, just like a small blur. We can also duplicate this. This will be fog. Not really fog, but we're just adding some little bit of atmosphere to it. Okay, and then create a color. put that on the fog layer. So as you can see here, it just adds a little bit of a tint to it. It doesn't have to be intense or anything. Just a little something. And at this point, I'm just trying to create something a little bit more. We don't need that many frames. Trim that down. A little bit more artistic. Because my can's a lot different than theirs, so there's no point trying to get it one-to-one. I think we can do better in the actual 3D. Okay. We can probably up the key light a little bit. So I think we can go more intense. Yeah, we can go more intense with that. So this is where you're going back and forth between your passes and your 3D to see what you can get and in between. Yeah, I think this might do the trick. Maybe like 0.2, 0.3. We don't need that to show. I'm also going to change my camera a little bit. I don't want to show that black spot in the top corner. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Alright, let's kick off one more render, and wherever we end up, we end up. Actually, let's we can improve render time here. We're only working on it still. I can always kick up the samples for the animation, but for a still, I can lower the samples. We're not dealing with any noise. Let's do like 4, 3, 4. All right, this should render a lot quicker. So 4 minutes and 44 seconds is a bit of a wait time. I typically like to have my wait time be between, ideally, 10 seconds or at maximum a minute. Especially when you're working under tight deadlines, you want to make sure you are iterating quickly, get the look you're looking for, and then send off the render to the farm, or if you're working on one computer, have that render overnight. Just because you have to sleep doesn't mean your computer does. So get it to work. That's the best advice I can give you is always keep your computer working. If it's sleeping, it's not making you money, and it's not getting you that feedback you need in the morning to get as most work as possible to get done. So imagine you stop somewhere at work, you're like, okay, I'm done for the day. You go home, you come back to work, and you have to re-render the scene that you rendered the previous night just to see where you left off. So if you had your computer rendering overnight, you can just load in that image sequence. Even if it's not done, even if it takes a while to render, just stop it in the morning when you get there, check it out, see what the frames look like, see what your passes are doing to your scene, and use what you can use, delete what you don't need anymore, and then you know exactly what you need to get done in your 9 to 5 and get the next scene prepped to render overnight. Of course, do the what you need to do to keep your machine running smooth. So do a restart after you stop your renders. Make sure you save, of course, and this way you're not building up cache. You're not building up any other scene files that are taking up a lot of background resources in your computer. I don't know how all these tutorial people can just keep talking forever. I don't get it. I'm running out of things to talk about after the first like 5 minutes. But if you guys enjoy the longer format tutorials, I can keep them going. You just have to give me time to get to them. They're a little bit more intense to get them out because it's fitting it in between my 9 to 5 job at ESPN and at my freelance that's after hours. So I just have to fit it somewhere in between. But just let me know, and if you guys like it, I can keep them coming. Of course, do more and more complex stuff. It's, again, just finding the time. It looks like we're about wrapped up in a little bit. It's almost done. Yeah, and if you're, I just want to touch on this too. If you're a junior designer right out of college, getting to the field, it is very tough out there. So really work on your craft if you want to stay in this field. You have to become really good, know what you're doing, and get really good practices going early on. So this way you stand out. Yeah, my scene got a heck of a lot brighter. We probably don't need all of these passes then. Let's see. That's on that. Yeah, this is looking, I can make this work. So what we're doing here is we're just trying to get a lot of these highlights not to be overwhelmingly blown out. It's okay if you get a little bit of blown out, but you just want to make sure you really fine tune those areas. Like I think I don't need any more highlights on my outer cans here. I think the hero object needs to stand out more. So what we can do is take another adjustment layer, CC outer cans, and then we can just adjust the outer cans here. And let's do levels. And we just wanted to draw the eye to the main can. We're not trying to make everything the focal point. The more you can do that, the better this is going to be, especially on an LED screen. Because when something's on an LED screen, it's going to make your blacks darker and your highlights brighter. So definitely think of that when you're working on stuff. Just make sure you're not blowing out too much. Yeah, that's looking better. And what you can also do is make an overall adjustment. We don't need any matte. Let's call it CC. Use Lumetri color. Let's up the temperature a little bit. Maybe a little bit of exposure. Maybe like 0.2. Make some contrast. Let's sharpen it a little bit. A little vibrance. See what it's doing. It's just making the scene a little bit more, have a little bit more oomph, if you know what I mean. There's a little bit more impact. like this thing here. So what we can do not to create a comp. Okay. Puzzle mat. Let's just grab these two. Then we can hit add. And that will be that little triangle we were seeing before. Make sure you stay organized. Always name your comps, so if someone goes into it, they can know exactly what they're looking for. And what we can do is create a just gonna black that area out. There's a line there. I may have to go back into 3D and just render another frame, but I'm not going to let you guys sit through that. That's minimal. That just makes it brighter. Yeah, but I think that is pretty close as far as the vibe of the reference. Or was it? There it is. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Maybe the next reference I find, I'll try to find a model that is closer to the reference picture, so this way we can match it more closely. Of course, when you're dealing with something of this high quality, it's going to take time, and a lot more time than the tutorial can cover. So definitely take the extra time. Make sure you're adding in ice cubes that actually look like ice cubes. I just threw in rock pebbles on mine. So yeah, you can find like small workarounds like that that can really take your design just up a notch. Even though, like, you as a designer, you know that's not what it would look like in real life, but once you put on a shader on it and a different texture, it can look like something else. Like, those pebbles don't look like pebbles anymore. They look like these little bits of ice. Not perfect ice, but they look like ice. And just have fun with it, really. Just spend time, really get involved in the design process. Try not to get lost on the small details until the end. And yeah, just really just have fun with it. That's the whole point of being in the art field, is to be passionate about what you're doing and what you're making. But yeah, hope you learned something, and if you like this type of content, let me know. I'll keep doing them. Yeah, have a good night. Bye.